What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Dueling Fates podcast, your favorite non-Harry Potter, but definitely for the next 11 weeks, I guess, fucking Star Wars podcast, where we're covering Star Wars from episode 1 all the way to episode 9, plus the 2 spin-off movies we have going on.
Dying in the middle of the intro is so tough. Today we're covering the Phantom Menace, though. I totally forgot to grab a new title card, but that's okay. That's perfectly okay. I'll fix that as we're going. We'll fix it in post. But yeah, today we're covering the Phantom Menace because I have decided, and it's just correct that. There you go. Grayson's back.
Hey.
It's just correct that the order you watch these movies in is also chronologically. Because everybody likes to say that you want to watch the other way because of, the Darth Vader, Luke's father reveal. Dude, it's been 60 years. It's no longer a reveal.
It's not 60 years.
Close enough. It's been over.
The first week, 1980. That movie, the reveal came out in 1980. It's been 44.
Whoop-dee. Close enough. Round up and then round up again. It's been 100 years. Because you round up and you're at 50, and you round up from 50, you're at 100. So, haha.
Anyways, we're covering the first Star Wars film, which also actually is where the namesake of the podcast comes from.
True. That is true.
The Duel of the Fates, and we are Dueling Fates.
We do duel like the Fates. I forgot to grab a title card, so I'm grabbing that. Yeah, I like to do it in the middle of the thing. You wanna
shit on every time.
You wanna
no matter what.
You wanna yap about something?
Yap?
I'm sure you got something.
I think this movie is heavily underrated for a Star Wars film. I kind of hold the same opinion from every Star Wars film is pretty good. I don't think they're all immaculate. There is definitely a bad one. There's a bad one. But I think the Phantom Menace is very underrated. I think that it's the most Star Warsy Star Wars film there is. This is just everything Star Wars is, just kind of all bundled up, and people don't like it because it's too Star Warsy for its own good.
See, I definitely think this is one of the weaker movies, and not because it's too Star Warsy for its own good. Trust me, I like the Star Warsy bullshit. I just think certain moments or I'm not gonna lie, and this isn't even Jar Jar hate, though I do like how Jar Jar became in the two other movies. Not with less screen time. I don't even mean that. Just the way they less over exaggerated the dumbass accent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was better. Now, I think you could have just left the Gungans out entirely, and it would have made this movie about 20 minutes shorter and just 10 times better. All of the good parts of this movie are ruined by the waste of 5 minutes dealing with the Gungans for no reason.
That's kind of fair. The Gungan leadership is kind of just bullshit.
All of the Gungan stuff was really stupid. If you want to leave the first scene where they get the stupid little watercraft, cool. I'm fine with that. After that, we need no more of it. Actually, the whole battle scene with them is fine, but I would have rather just watched the other thing and they just said there was a battle happening somewhere as a distraction.
I mean, we cut between the Duel of the Fates to the fucking battlefield. I'm like, dude,
right?
The double-sided lightsaber face off against two fucking Jedi.
Right. And it's not even a Jar Jar thing. Even if you just keep Jar Jar in the movie, but pull back that accent a little bit, because a little too far. It would have been great. I think that's the thing that ruins this movie, because and I don't even think I get you wanted to add the Gungans as the thing for kids to latch onto or whatever. Yeah. But I personally think the droids would have made cooler toys. I owned a bunch of droids.
Oh, I definitely owned a bunch of fuck me, figures. But
yeah, dude, the droids are sick. Love the droids.
I think the droids are so fucking funny too.
Yeah.
I fucking love them. They get better throughout the films, but here that are so fucking hilarious. It's like, you're under arrest.
Yeah, Coruscant does not compute. You're under arrest. It's like, oh, all right, I'm under arrest.
I think they're so stupid. Like, movies can be stupid, but be also great when they're
Right.
stupid. And Star Wars is stupid. Then the whole idea of Star Wars is kind of dumb.
It's always been pretty low bar.
Yeah.
Like, so I know you have some gripes and some things you want to talk about, but I think I will start with mine. Just the biggest one that I've always had with this movie happens in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Is it the Jedi fucking sprint down?
The Force speed, which is a thing that exists in other things in Star Wars, just never in any other movie.
I know.
So my personal headcanon with Force speed is it's a thing you can only do once, ever. Once you've done it, they used it then. And Obi-Wan lives the rest of his life regretting not saving it for 3 days.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, when I was watching that in the scene, I'm like, dude, if you could just Force dash, bro.
Right. Like, it's always been like, what the fuck? Why?
Just fucking Force dash.
Like, if you're going to let him do it once, either let him do it again or just cut out the scene where they did it the first time.
Yeah, let him fucking use the blaster fucking...
Right, just like walk backwards, drop a blast door, and there you go. Like, that was so stupid. I will never understand it.
This is still, this is the time where George was still fucking around with CGI and stuff like that. He just kind of wanted to do whatever he wanted.
It was also weird. The CGI in this movie was both awesome and horrible at the same time.
Yeah.
So many parts of it hold up so well. And then so many parts, it's like, what the fuck is that?
During the battle, the ships that they keep rolling up on, right? At one point, I'm like, dude, that's not 3D. That's just a 2D object they put on a 3D thing, and it just looks stupid as fuck.
Dude, like, so many of the things should have been miniatures. Like, the reason that the pod racing scene looks so good is 90% of that is just miniatures. That stadium exists. Star Wars has always been at its best. Honestly, we'll talk about it when we get there, but this is my favorite thing about the sequels, is their mixture. Their, like, true mixture of CGI and miniatures again, because it makes it feel so much better.
Yeah.
And that's why Revenge of the Sith holds up better than any of these other ones, is because George went a little bit back.
When we talk about Revenge of the Sith, it's going to be like a 4-hour episode.
Probably.
You realize that.
I love that movie, dude.
About that film.
But
Revenge of the Sith was the first movie I ever saw in theaters as a kid.
It was one of the first. It might have been the first. All I remember is the first theater we went to, the last ticket sold out to the people right in front of me. So we went to another theater and it happened again. So I was like 6 or 7 years old and did not get to see this movie until like midnight after staying up all day. So I fell asleep right before the Anakin Obi-Wan battle. I passed out.
That's fucking tough.
Yeah. I never knew it happened until it came out on DVD.
Damn. That's tough.
I used to own a Star Wars tent for when we'd go camping that had Anakin and Obi-Wan like dueling on all the sides of it. It was sick. It was pretty cool.
I'm kind of laid it out for everyone who's watching this. Geek is a super fucking Star Wars nerd. Like,
very much.
He's read like Legends shit like that. I'm the most basic Star Wars nerd there is. I watched 10 movies of the 11 that there's.
You didn't see Solo, right?
I didn't see Solo. Mostly because I didn't really care for Solo because I don't really like Han Solo in the first place.
Oof, El Bozo.
Yeah, I know. But I haven't seen Clone Wars. I saw the movie. I saw the Clone Wars movie.
Nice.
So I like Ahsoka. But I'm very basic. Geek is very much a super fucking Star Wars nerd.
Star Wars nerd, man.
But do you know the lore behind Tarkin in the Stormtrooper?
What?
We'll get to it during the New Hope then.
I don't know. Well, I just don't know what you're referring to.
There's lore between Tarkin and the Stormtrooper that Luke is dressed up as in New Hope.
There's lore between the two?
Yes.
real lore or internet weirdo
I
lore?
have zero idea if it's real or not. Because
Okay.
I don't read the fucking books. What's in one of the books?
I feel
Apparently.
like it's probably either internet weirdo or the thing that I always have to refer to is just because it was in one of the books from way back when does not mean it's real.
Oh, like
Legends
the alcohol, like
Legends was
Ki-Adi
never
Mundi?
real. Oh my god, don't even. I don't want to
Well,
start on
it's in
this.
this movie. It's in this movie.
Ki-Adi,
Ki-Adi
oh
Mundi's-
god, I do have to talk about that. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. But okay, I want to know the things you wanted to know about in order, kind of. Though I did just see the pod racing scene because the trailer's playing. I will say I did. This is the first time I've known the
pod
title.
racing.
That is going to be the title of this episode. Is now this is pod racing, 100%.
Absolutely. Greatest line in all of cinema, actually.
Now this is pod racing.
There's a lot of things I want to talk about this film, mostly because there's a lot of things centered around this film, when it comes to later on in
Yes.
either the actors' lives or the Star Wars fandom that center around this film.
Yes.
But one of the main questions I wanted to ask you as a real hardcore Star Wars fan is what the fuck is up with Qui-Gon and why does everyone like gush over him and why does like what's his whole deal? Because like apparently he's not a normal Jedi, but he's a Jedi. But like
He is a normal Jedi. Okay, so this is part of the argument for when people are talking about the acolyte or any of this and how the Jedi are. You see in this movie, the Jedi outside of Qui-Gon, even Obi-Wan himself, are extremely arrogant.
Yeah.
Like entirely. All of them
Yeah.
except for Qui-Gon.
sure.
So the thing with that is Ki-Adi Mundi brings up the Sith have been extinct for a millennia and you know, the boy's too old to be trained and all of this shit. The Jedi have lived over 1,000 years, you know, a full millennia, with their biggest enemy not existing. They've been the ruling force user power in the galaxy. They went from basically just a religion of monks to suddenly like political pawns.
Yeah.
The Jedi were never supposed to work closely with the Republic. That was never the point. They're peacekeepers, not soldiers. And this movie is really when the start of them becoming soldiers happens.
Yeah.
So the thing with Qui-Gon is he still follows what the Jedi are supposed to be. So I find really funny, you know, thinking about the Jedi and the Sith code. It's weird. I can only remember the Sith code off the top of my head. I've read them the same amount of times, but I can't remember the Jedi code.
Code like abuse your emotions to like.
No,
like,
do you want the Sith one or I was?
Do it off the head. I want you to do it off your top of the head. And see.
I will. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me is the Sith code. The Jedi one, though, I gotta go find. Give me a second.
I mean, that sounds more like if someone came into me and like, "Hey, the Force is here, but here's how we use the Force." I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." They sound cool.
The Force shall free me. The Jedi code: there is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. Because everything. Yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna touch on it probably next episode because it has to deal more with that. But they're allowed to love, right?
So that's where the whole conflict comes up. They're allowed to love to a degree. Obi-Wan loves Anakin.
Yeah.
A lot of Jedi are encouraged to love. The issue with Anakin and the issue that can happen with a lot of Jedi. One day I will make you watch Star Wars Rebels. That would never fit into this show. But Kanan Jarrus in that show falls in love with another character in that show.
Oh, I think
Kanan and Hera are what a Jedi should be because he loved Hera, but never was possessive. It never went to that point. That's the
obsessive thing. Okay.
Anakin became obsessed.
Okay.
And that's what leads to the problems.
We'll talk about that more next episode. I just want to kind of like understand, like, since we're talking about the Jedi code at the moment.
Yeah. Fear, because then you fear losing them, and fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Oh.
Yeah, fucking Yoda, man. I love Yoda. He's the GOAT. But
Yoda
I
got
know a lot of
pissed in
people.
this film.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think that Qui-Gon was like a gray Jedi. No, those don't exist. They can't possibly exist. You cannot draw on, because the idea of a gray Jedi is they just use the Force, both light and dark. No, if you draw from the dark side, you will be corrupted to the dark side. That's just how it works.
We'll talk about during the Revenge of the Sith.
The dark side is all corrupting.
Yeah.
There is no character that uses both. There just isn't. You're making a face.
Again, starting the Revenge of the Sith. I'll ask that question later. That's
if you're thinking Mace Windu, he doesn't.
That's what. I thought it was kind of. Anyways,
no, it was a Legends thing that's what purple lightsabers meant, but that's not what purple lightsabers mean. So, because that was all
like just cause
that was no, literally. That's how lightsaber colors work. They no longer. So it all came from the Star Wars: The Old Republic, not the Old Republic, Knights of the Old
Jedi.
Republic game. No, the lightsaber colors meaning something came from Knights of the Old Republic, which
they were like why the colors.
Right. And so everybody just kind of ran with that, and then that was never it. And I mean, the only reason he had purple was because
he's Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, he wanted purple, and George was like, "All right, Doug, here you go." Because no, it was specifically because he wanted his mom to be able to pick him out in the Geonosis battle scene.
Fair.
Which is pretty funny. But I can tell you all the lore reasons behind why people still kind of think he uses the dark when we get to that episode. But back to Qui-Gon. He is, so he's the only Jedi we hear in the show truly talk about the living Force and listening to the will of the Force, which is entirely what the Jedi are supposed to do. The Jedi had in this time period throughout the High Republic into just the fall of the Republic era, which is where we are at. The Phantom Menace is the beginning of the fall of the Republic.
Yeah.
As you can see by the Emperor being elected Chancellor. But the no other Jedi speaks about the living Force. They have entirely become like the Sith, where they are bending the Force to their will. And so that's what makes Qui-Gon special. He is basically the last remaining Jedi.
Well, he's not anymore.
Well, he was until the Duel of the Fates, and we'll get into that.
Until he took a Matt Damon to the abdomen.
Yeah, only this time he didn't magically survive. I wonder why. Well, this one wasn't the abdomen. This was just through the heart.
Was it that high? I always think it's like in the stomach.
It was like right here.
I don't know why I always think it's the stomach. I just
because that's what people on the internet always claim. Because why did this guy survive being cut in half, but this guy didn't survive? It's like, well, because a lightsaber went through his heart. But also for, the reason that dark side users survive by doing things light side users aren't allowed to do. That's the difference. And
like Force Heal. We spend
Force Heal's not one of them. But we spend the entire movie praising Qui-Gon for not being, an evil bastard. And then we're mad that he didn't become an evil bastard to survive. I don't really understand that one.
Well, he is an evil bastard. He kidnaps a child. Like
no, he doesn't.
I mean,
he literally
he buys a child,
and he freed a child. He says, "You're free." The mother says, "Will you take him with you? If you'll allow me, and if he wants to." That is not kidnapping. That is just summer camp, dude. Like, that's just sending your kid to a private school. That's all that happened.
Imagine you come back from summer camp and it's like, yes, I can wield a fucking laser sword.
Biggest thing that has always annoyed me. The Jedi have never kidnapped children. The Sith do. Now, the worst part is like in the Acolyte, because they didn't kidnap a child, but at that time, a lot of Jedi would use really shitty tactics to get parents to agree.
Mm-hmm.
But they would still agree. They never kidnapped a kid. Never once. Only Palpatine well, not only Palpatine, but only the Sith do that.
I mean, Vader did in Legends, so yeah.
Vader's
killed
Sith,
his dad and then still hunt. Yeah,
Yeah, but Vader's a Sith, so my point remains.
fair. Um, yeah. Um, so there is an interesting thing that's brought up in this film, and I promise you, we'll get to the actual film part of everything. I'm just really curious about the lore that either does not exist anymore or still exists, but like
Right.
in the depths of everything. Midichlorians.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They never really bring them up again, and I guess that's because people got annoyed with having a description of how the Force works. But I mean, I feel like that makes a ton of sense. The Force is living, so why wouldn't it be like a microscopic organism that lives in everyone?
Well, I think it's more because I think people thought of it more as like a deity type thing rather than a biological type thing.
It's weird. Because they even say that the midichlorians are not the Force. They're what give you the ability to hear it. Not to speak to the Force, but to hear the...
Everyone's schizophrenic now?
Well, no, only Force users, which I feel like makes a lot of sense. But yeah, to be able to hear the will of the Force, you need this.
In my head now, anytime someone tries to pull something with the Force, it's just like they don't see the person, but the person, like someone next to them, picks it up for them and gives it to them.
There you go.
It's not an actual Force type thing.
But yeah, so I don't think midichlorians ever changed anything. It was just their way of explaining how you could tell how Force sensitive someone was. Because they've always said the Force lives in all things, but to like, there's levels to this. You know, Anakin is going to have more potential than any other person, and here's why. And they do make a really good point of saying that right away. That's even higher than Master Yoda.
It's over 9,000.
Well, actually, it's over 20,000.
But I was making a reference.
Yeah. But
film though.
I love the prequels. I love the political intrigue of them. Like I said, my only real qualm with this movie is the Gungans. I just think they're pointless.
See, I don't
Jar Jar, there's a point,
much.
but the fact that there's 30 minutes of Gungan bullshit pisses me off. We don't need any of it.
I mean, you don't, but I don't really mind it.
I do, because the CGI was really bad for the Gungans.
It gets wonky, yeah.
Except for the city. The city was cool, which is why I said you could keep that part and then cut the rest of it. Boss Nass really annoys me.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's thing the whole fucking time. I don't really like that. I
don't mind it. I like the kind of the difference between the droid army versus the Gungans and how they're like.
Again, I think it would have been cooler if they just stopped with the over-exaggerated accent.
Yeah, I get that point.
That was just so annoying to me. I haven't watched The Phantom Menace in a long time.
Neither have I. I thought you went to see it in theaters.
This one, no, I was never able to. It wasn't near me.
Said fuck you.
Yeah, it wasn't near me, and I wasn't driving to Denver to see a movie. That's just too much. It's like a 4-hour drive. I just wouldn't. I just couldn't.
I would. But I'm also saying so.
Yeah. Well, since I have to drive over an hour to see a movie, no matter what, so I go
literally 2 minutes that way, 5 minutes that way, 20 minutes that way.
Yeah, suck 'em.
Yeah, I can see whatever movie I really want.
Did you go see The Phantom Menace in theaters?
No, how did I go see Star Wars in theaters unless it's Revenge of the Sith?
No, I think Phantom Menace in theaters would cook. But outside of that, the pod racing scenes are still some of my favorites in all of Star Wars.
You know what? I hate them for one and one reason only. It gave me fucking flashbacks to Lego Star Wars in that fucking level. It was so fucking impossible to actually complete. Like,
which was the point? They like explained that in the movie.
I don't care. Lego Star Wars gave me fucking flashbacks from that shit.
I do find it very funny, seeing as we're at this moment. We've seen So in the original trilogy, we saw Obi-Wan use the, Jedi mind trick one time. That's it. One time. In this movie, we see Qui-Gon do it like 5 times, and then we never see it again in the rest of Star Wars.
No.
In the
Rey
Clone Wars,
uses
they
it.
did. Oh, I forgot. Rey does use it.
She uses it like
Why is it
3 or 4
only
times in
ever the
trilogy.
first movie in a trilogy that they use?
I think she uses it in the second or third one as well.
Does she? I don't remember.
I think she tries.
It's been a long time since I've watched the sequels.
Well, this is part of this. This is why we do this.
I know. It's not. See, like, I watch basically all of them every year, but I don't know. I always get a little annoyed with knowing how the sequels go, and I don't want to have to watch through all that.
See, I'm kind of annoyed that we have to do this just because I don't want to watch the 9th movie.
That's fair.
At
At least it looks good. It's very pretty.
Sure.
It's very pretty. I will say, this might be the worst looking Star Wars movie, just like in general.
See, I don't think so. I mean, the CGI looks terrible. Obviously, it's a fucking PS2
Right.
graphics.
The practical effects from the original trilogy are so much better.
But like, Naboo looks gorgeous.
Sometimes.
I love staring at Naboo.
Naboo gets better in the next movie, though, by a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, that's what I
1000%.
mean. This might be the worst looking one.
I
out of all of them.
I can't just say that. But
I've seen Solo. That's why
But Natalie Portman's in this. So it's so pretty.
Nope, can't say that.
Bro was saying something about the Sith in the wild.
No, I'm saying what you're saying. Can't say that.
Oh, I wasn't even born when this movie came out. Okay.
Me either. But no, yeah, I just like visually, I think it's the worst looking Star Wars movie, which sucks because it also probably has the greatest lightsaber duel of all time.
I mean, Acolyte's putting up some numbers though.
Yeah, it is, but it's not. Because
Dude,
like
a guy headbutts a lightsaber. I don't give a shit.
That doesn't make it a good duel.
I don't give a
It's
fuck.
cool, but like, no, just thinking of that in the Acolyte, all of the Jedi are getting their shit kicked. All of them. This one, nobody was getting their shit kicked. Not really.
Yeah.
Maul took advantage of his opening, and then Obi-Wan did the same.
I do find it really cool that during when they fight in Tatooine, that Maul does not whip out the second blade.
Yep.
I think it's fucking dope as fuck.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you just try this shit and I give away my secret weapon. And like, I think that was dope.
Yeah.
I don't remember him. I didn't remember that fight originally, so I'm like, watch this. I'm like,
it's always my favorite because Anakin, drop. What if he just said what and then wham, got hit by the speeder? Suddenly, Star Wars is over.
Would it be though, or would we get better?
It'd be over.
Maul would still be alive.
Yeah, but the chosen one is dead.
Yeah, but Maul's still alive.
Yeah, that's bad. Because Maul didn't become a cool character until later.
No,
and
he was a
he
cool
would never.
Character. He just wasn't a character.
No, that means he wasn't a cool character. He was just a cool looking dude with a double-bladed lightsaber. He didn't become a cool character until fucking Clone Wars, and then he became one of the like 5 greatest characters in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want like we need all of what happened in this movie to happen, which sucks. Go ahead.
How Ray Park actually ended up changing Darth Maul's appearance?
Yeah, because he kept his earring in.
Yeah. Can you imagine like going into a set and just like hoping the guy you don't get fired from fucking Star Wars?
Well, why would you get fired for keeping an earring in?
Because like Lucas probably wouldn't like it and be like, okay, we're just gonna get a new Darth Maul. I don't know. He was terrified he was gonna get fired from Star Wars, so.
But Ray Park, dude, the choreography for that final duel is so good. And the Duel of the Fates, the music, the choreography, and then the like actual meaning behind that fight is just so chef's kiss, man. It's so good. Because I don't know if you've ever seen the thing with Dave Filoni talking about it, but he's like that. The duel of the fates is not like it's a duel not only of the fate of this child, Anakin Skywalker, but the fate of the galaxy, because everything changes if Qui-Gon lives and is the one to train Anakin. Because Anakin and Obi-Wan were always like brothers, which is not what Anakin needed.
He needed a teacher, yeah.
Yeah. Which I just love. And every time I kind of hope Qui-Gon wins, and then he doesn't. Like, maybe they'll just cut Obi-Wan in half this time. It'll be great.
But, okay. Part of the Duel of Fates, Darth Maul is just, like, kind of swiping at the edge of the pit, which also, why the fuck is that pit there? Second of all, what is he trying to accomplish? Why don't you just walk away? You think the bro's dead.
Well, no, he can see that Obi-Wan's hanging on.
Well, yeah,
he's throwing fucking, like, sparks at him, hoping it'll cause him to let go. What do you mean?
You saw this kid Jedi just fucking, like, go buck wild. Why don't you just, like, try to get away as fast as possible, get a head start, and try to, like, go back to your master and be like, hey, yo, this Obi-Wan is gonna try to fuck me up.
Because he's a Sith assassin. He is not afraid even a little bit of a Jedi. Not any of them. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon aren't even the first Jedi he's fought and killed.
See, I don't know that. So
yeah, like, Maul is not afraid. Maul is one of the greatest duelists alive. The issue is he's a Sith. What do? No, why do the Sith lose so goddamn always?
Because they're too ambitious.
No, because they're arrogant.
Both things.
Like, you know, he just force pushed Obi-Wan off the thing. Just do it again. Like, it's the downfall of the Sith every time. Just fucking skadoosh. And there he goes. And you win. And then you get to take Anakin and raise him as a Sith. Which would be the literal scariest thing of all time.
See, that's why I'm kind of pissed that they're doing What If through, like I'm kind of happy they're doing What If through Lego because it's kind of funny.
Ew.
But, like, what? I like it.
I didn't know it was through Lego. I'm so mad now. I didn't know it was happening.
But they're not gonna do it like through, like, they're not gonna do like things like what if Darth Maul won and took Anakin? No, they're gonna do like some stupid shit like what if Jar Jar Binks? They're doing Jar Jar Binks as Sith Lord. So
nice, but I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna watch it because it's funny as fuck.
No, I need a real What If in the Clone Wars animation style.
I don't like that animation style.
It's better than fucking Rebels. Rebels, no, it's not. It's really not. And Rebels ruined lightsabers.
You don't like the thin lightsabers?
No! Pisses me off. Ah.
But now you get the big brick lightsabers. Literally a brick.
That's worse. I hate all
Star
of
Wars
it.
is goated. Okay.
I've never been a big Lego anything fan. I like Legos, but as soon as they become a game or a TV show, I hate them. I want to build them, and that's about it. The only Legos I got are right here. That's it. Those are the only ones.
I don't have any right now.
Elbozo.
I do have a pop, though. I'm trying to point to it. There we go.
Gross. I got Funko Pops over here. Nope, over here.
No, you had one right there?
Oh, I did.
Other side.
Yeah, these are not Funkos, technically.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one. There's one Funko.
I don't think we can see them.
Oh. Assassin's Creed character doing the superhero landing pose.
Oh, it's the movie Assassin's Creed. Oh, I was going to mention The Martian. Yeah. I was going to mention The Martian and started playing Assassin's Creed because I walked away for a second to like go like get a drink and started playing Assassin's Creed, and my guttural reaction was no. Oh, anyways, I don't mind the CGI. I think it looks fine-ish. I think we could have done with less CGI, but the amount of gulp shitos in this fucking film are amazing. So I was texting Nicole and Miller because they know more about Star Wars than I do. About there's this long-necked blue guy behind Qui-Gon during the council meeting. Yeah,
A
I'll send you a
blue
picture.
guy? I don't think he's blue.
I'm pretty sure he's blue.
I think he's just gray, but okay.
He's a gray Jedi. Oh my god.
No, because I think it's just a Kaminoan.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe he is gray. And I was trying to text who is bro? I wrote Boris instead on accident because of autocorrect. His name is not Boris now apparently. So that's my gulp shit over there. But there's so many in this fucking film. It is Gulp Shido City. If anyone doesn't know what Gulp Shido is, I just learned exactly what the
Yeah, I had to look it
explanation.
up because I didn't. I know people use that word all the time, but or like that phrase, but I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. It's a character from the Star Wars universe known to hardcore fans but unknown to general audiences, which is interesting.
Usually a guy that's mentioned once or like never
Seen in the
mentioned, but
background,
just,
like Quinlan Voss,
yeah.
who's actually in this movie.
Or Kit Fisto.
No, Kit Fisto's in like multiple major scenes. I don't think he'd be forgotten.
Well, there's also the dinosaur in
Coleman
Attack of the Clones.
Trevor.
Such a normal name for a Jedi.
Such a normal name for a dinosaur.
Hey, you know, look, I'm a boy girl.
Ugh.
But like, that's my gulp shit on now is that random dude behind Qui-Gon in Phantom Menace for 2 seconds.
Isn't there a character named Glup Shido now?
I think there is. I think there's an official gulp shit out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the Mandalorian.
I don't know. Either way, not important. So I
So what?
figured you had more questions or gripes or whatever.
Well, I'll get more questions and gripes when we get into more of the film it pertains to.
Oh, you don't have more questions about this film in particular?
Not exactly. I mean, I do really find it really shitty they try to make a mystery of who the Emperor is, or who Palpatine
See,
is,
I
but like,
don't feel like they ever really tried to make it a mystery.
but I'm like, can we try to make a little bit of a mystery instead of like,
Well,
oh
like,
yeah, it's
to
this
the
old dude
audience,
over
it's
here.
not a mystery, but to like the Nemoidians, it definitely is.
The Mordians?
The Cato and Nemoidia is where the Trade Federation people come from. They're Nemoidians.
I thought you were talking about the Jedi. I'm like,
No, but like when the Sith version of Palpatine is talking to them,
yeah.
like obfuscating his face, I wonder why. He doesn't want them to know, but because we've all seen Star Wars, we know. Like, it's one of those things that I have to remind people when we're having conversations about Star Wars shows and movies. Well, why doesn't this character know this thing? Because he's never seen Star Wars.
Yeah.
We've seen Star Wars. He has not. So he doesn't know how this works. We have more information than them.
I just think it'd be cooler if they like made it like, hey, yo, it's definitely not this old dude over here just sitting over here. Because if you had like 2 old dudes around, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of old dudes.
Yeah, but not like old dudes like that. Not old white dudes. They're all old aliens.
I mean, literally the Chancellor, Valorum, is an old white dude. Also, maybe it was Ki-Adi Mundi under there. You don't know. So
you mean the guy who got really?
So I gotta bring this up because apparently the thing that made people think Ki-Adi Mundi shouldn't have been alive in The Acolyte comes from like not even a visual novel for this movie, but just some book that talks about everybody that has like 18 other inaccuracies in it, but all of those are just inaccurate to things George wrote, so nobody wants to bring those up. They only want to bring up the one that Disney got wrong on a book that was never canon to begin with, so fuck you. Legends was never canon. The EU was never canon. George said, the only things that are canon are the movies and the TV shows that I make. And then when he sold it to Disney, they said, the only things that are canon are the movies, TV shows, and books that we make. As well as these ones that were already made by George. It's the things made by George and then what we make. Nothing else matters. And why nobody seems to be able to grasp that is beyond me. If you read anything in Legends, the 2 books you read that are in the same series contradict each other the whole time. I love Legends, but it was also full of inaccuracies. Shut the fuck up. You are undoubtedly somebody who's never actually seen Star Wars, doesn't actually know what you're talking about. You just want to whine and cry and call something woke, even though you don't know what those words mean.
Rest in peace, Mara Jade, though. That was my girl. I never read anything about her, but she had purple hair
No,
and
she had red hair.
close enough.
She had a purple lightsaber.
That's what I was thinking of.
But so the thing after this, so Qui-Gon fights a Sith.
Yeah.
Says, "Hey yo, I fought a Sith." And Ki-Adi Mundi goes, "Well, the Sith haven't been around for a millennia." So this whole idea that in the Acolyte, Ki-Adi Mundi could find out about a dark side user killing Jedi and wouldn't think about Sith. Yeah, that's kind of what the Phantom Menace is telling us, is he would never think it was a Sith. The dude could say he was a Sith and Ki-Adi wouldn't think so. That's kind of the point that they're trying to make, you brainless fuck. Like, come on. Grayson's staring at his phone.
I am.
Why are you staring at your phone?
No reason.
Are you offended at me yelling?
No, I'm letting you yell because you know more about Star Wars than I do. I'm not going to argue with you.
It doesn't matter. Like, even even if the guy had told everybody he was a Sith, which even though he kind of did in the Acolyte, he also didn't. He said, "Your kind may call me Sith," which doesn't technically mean he's calling himself Sith. That just means the Jedi might call him that. This is
a great
key.
Jedi.
Words mean something. No, but words mean things. No, based on the helmet design, I kind of have a theory that he is like the original Knight of Ren and what that whole thing spins off of. Because like, as we see with Kylo, it's an entire order. And Disney made, I can't remember if it was a comic book or a book.
This book.
That talks about the Knights of Ren and how Kylo became the leader of the Knights of Ren. What if this is just the original Knight of Ren? And where that order starts? Okay.
Where it's like art of.
Gotcha. But what if this is just the original leader of the Knights of Ren, and that's why the helmets all kind of are modeled later after this one? This one's very similar to those. Maybe this is just a Knight of Ren, but because they operate fairly similarly to the Sith, he tells the Jedi, your kind might call me Sith.
I just find it really funny. They're like, "Oh yeah, this helmet works," and they just gave it to him and didn't think about it. Which I doubt, but like, I think it'd be funny. So this movie is kind of infamous, not only for how it's perceived as bad, but also how it affected the actors in it. Jake Lloyd, who plays little Anakin, apparently after a lot of retribution, or not retribution, a lot of hatred on the internet, Adam became very off the beaten path, became involved with a lot of drugs and alcohol, and became he got arrested at one point, I believe. I think by the time he was like 17 or something like that. So like, it really fucked him up, especially because the fans like kind of turned on him after the movie. Which apparently the movie initially got great reception, but then like a year or two later they started hating it, which is Star Wars fans. So go, you know. And then Amon Best, who is now heavily involved with Star Wars now because of his involvement with all the new shows and stuff like that. Contemplated suicide because of all the hatred he got, not only for this movie but for the next two movies, because he was also Jar Jar in those. But this is where he was mainly shown in this film, so I'm just gonna use it here. So this film is, I like it as a film. I just don't like it because this is kind of where I feel like fans turned on the franchise entirely and have became this whole little cesspool of like, I'm going to hate everything that's new that comes out of this fucking franchise. And then in 10, 20 years, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I love this stuff. I loved when it came out. Because I'm telling you this right now. In the next few years, because The Force Awakens turns 10 next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be loved. The next trilogy is going to be absolutely fucking adored. So it's going to be one of those things.
Probably.
And that's what hurts me about this current, what's her face that played Rose and Last Jedi and Daisy Ridley and everything like that, and John Boyega, is that like they're getting hate right now still continuously after those movies have been out for more than five years after the end of Rise of Skywalker. And know what the fuck you're saying online. People are people. And obviously we didn't learn from the Phantom Menace, so why can't we learn now? 10, 20 years later. When Force Awakens was released.
Yeah. I definitely think, I don't know, rewatching this, I don't think Jake Lloyd was bad at all. I don't know
He's
what the complaint was.
a child actor. I
He
don't
was a
ever
whiny
criticize.
kid, just like
Yeah.
Luke was. That's
hmm
the point.
My rule when I critique movies is that I never critique child actors because they're children still.
But even if you want to, I think Jake Lloyd did a really good job at kind of hinting at a lot of things.
Mhm.
Like when Mace Windu's talking shit to him, the little like side-eye glare, I was like, ah, yes.
That's Annie.
Yeah, that's Anakin. That
Anakin's the
right
most
there.
dramatic person in all of history, though.
Yeah.
Like, we'll talk about it in Rogue One, but he turns off his life support to make an entrance.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Anakin
So,
has
like,
the greatest flair for the dramatic of all time.
Bro's is good with the sauce. But like, yeah, Jake Lloyd is fine. Again, he's still like he plays a whiny little kid, and that's his goal. Is because he plays a whiny little kid. Because Luke's also a whiny little kid, so he gets this from his dad. But like he's not bad in this film. I think he's just perfectly fine. Again, like we said earlier, has the best line in all fucking cinema. This is pod racing, and I think it's just he's a kid. He's a kid on a Star Wars set. He's being him, and he's also being Anakin at the same time. It's perfect. I think it's more the writing for him, if anything, if you want to complain about that. It's like, are you an angel? Like he's trying to rizz up Padme.
Well,
immediately,
no,
which I
there's
gotta
actually
respect.
a lore thing. I guess he kind of explains that in the thing. But angels actually are a race of being in Star Wars.
Are the eyeballs and
No,
like wings and
no,
shit like
they're.
that? Oh.
Make sure I'm on the right page on Wikipedia because don't want to pull a Star Wars theory and be looking at legends and claiming it's canon. But no, it was they're also called the Diathym, the most beautiful creatures in the universe. They live on the moons of Lego or Lego or Ego. I don't remember how he said it, but yeah. And he says, I think, and they're just a species of winged sentients who inhabit the moons of the planet Lego, which is funny. Yeah, they're just specifically known to be the most beautiful creatures in the galaxy, and their rumors of their beauty were spread in all the Outer Rim territories, which is where Tatooine is. So, yeah.
He's still trying to raise up Padme, though.
Absolutely. Which.
Okay. Also, like when
I guess
Kendrick's thing, when the whole Kendrick trade came out with like the Not Like Us stuff like that, they were trying to call Padme a pedo.
She was like 13.
3 years. Yeah,
and he was like
3,
9 or 10.
3, 4 years apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that. That's like high school.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I've seen bigger like differences in fiction much more than Padme.
Yeah. No.
And also, Anakin was the one who like was trying. Like, they were 19 when they actually got together. Like Anakin was 19, so she was like 23, 24.
Yeah.
Let's not call Padme a pedo. Don't be weird. Obi-Wan though, we probably should talk about Obi-Wan since he's the third biggest person in this film. I guess unless you want to talk about Keira Knightley's character of fake Padme.
I mean, were you able to tell just looking at the Queen, not looking at her handmaidens when it switched? I was, but I don't know if you were.
Because I've seen the picture so many times, and I know what Natalie Portman looks like so intensely. It's like I could tell.
Yeah.
But like, also, if you told me for the first time, like watching this, if I wasn't like super paying attention, Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman infamously look like each other, and it works perfectly. It just turns out that both of them are also like super accomplished actresses. So, are you trying to bring them up side by side?
No.
Oh. But her line deliveries bothered me just because they're very flat. But I also Padme is kind of flat when it comes to like when she's talking about like politics.
So when she goes full political, she does put on like that really flat accent and like Yeah.
And then when she died, she
Yeah.
Bro's looking up something. I'm very curious what he's looking up.
Nothing important. Deal with it.
That sounds very sinister, and I'm very scared.
No. So,
Terrified.
this movie make money or did this movie lose money?
Oh my god, that's a great
I'm
question.
just kidding. It made 150. The budget was $115 million, and it made over $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah.
Only made $64 million on opening weekend in the U.S. and Canada, though. So
It sounds kind of insane, but also is that adjusted for inflation?
I don't know. Ask IMDb, not me.
Star. I can't spell. Star Wars. The Phantom.
I was looking it up.
Menace. Adjusted. I can't spell. For inflation.
Adjusted for inflation.
So Star Wars, episode 4 is 2 actually. That's fun. Star Wars episode 1 is the 19th of all time,
Valid.
with an adjusted lifetime gross of $826 million.
That doesn't make sense.
Let's just go with the wins 1.8 billion. I don't know.
Oh,
That's me.
I don't know. But
Oh, this is my tickets sold. I apologize. So yeah, it's 19th. So it had 90,312,100 tickets sold, compared to Gone with the Wind was 200,286,200 tickets sold in 1939. They really fucking with the Gone with the Wind, apparently.
Apparently Liam Neeson was so eager to be in this film that he signed on without having read the script.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why this looks so fucking weird. Oh my god.
What?
So I was watching this. I'm like, I swear to God, I remember a Yoda puppet existing, because I remember
Yeah.
a story of Ewan talking about the fucking puppet just dying. But
Yeah.
I watched my Blu-ray of it. In the 2011 Blu-ray version, they replaced Yoda with a CGI Yoda.
Yeah. Because the CGI Yoda looks better.
It doesn't.
He does. I hate the puppet.
I
It looks
love
worse.
Papa
It
Yoda.
doesn't look like Yoda. Because it doesn't even look like the original Yoda. Like, no.
He got older by like 40 years.
Yeah, for a creature that lives 1,000 years, 40 years is nothing.
We don't even know what his race is called.
No, and we never will. That's like the point.
Huh.
Ewan McGregor recalled that his performance in the film consisted of walking into rooms and looking up.
Basically.
Keira Knightley's parents tried to convince her not to audition.
She was 12?
Yeah. Natalie Portman was like 13.
I think she was like, yeah, 13, 14, but still.
Ewan
Keira
McGregor
Knightley's
made
own
lightsaber
mother.
noises as he dueled.
Yeah, that's one now. Keira Knightley's mother didn't know that Natalie was not Kira.
I think that's great. Ooh, there's goofs. Sad. There were goofs. What goofed? In the parade, Anakin Skywalker seen as a Padawan and sports a new haircut and a Padawan braid. The braid is considerably longer than his hair had been at any other point in the film. Yeah, it's not a goof. That's called an extension, dude.
So Natalie Portman was definitely in at least high school, because she had to study for high school exams so
13 or 14.
14. She had at least be 14.
No, she didn't.
There's no 13-year-olds in
I was 13 as a freshman, dude.
All right, you smarty McGee.
No, I didn't skip a grade. I was just 13 as a freshman.
Mm-hmm. Apparently,
I turned 14 in my freshman year.
I turned 15 my freshman year.
Because I turned 18 in my senior year.
That's not how math works.
Yeah.
Anyways,
what do you mean?
Shut up. To create the sounds of the spectators in the pod race scene, apparently they're 49ers fans.
Nice.
Oh, sure, got to see the
That's always
trails
my
of Obi-Wan.
favorite. During the fight at the end near the droid control ship, Anakin does his, I'll try spinning, that's a good trick, and turns his flight controls left, but then the ship spins to the right.
This film I totally forgot has one of the fucking most badass fucking posters of all time.
Does it? Which one?
Of Anakin walking in the sand and
Oh,
his
yeah.
shadow is Darth Vader.
Yep.
What a fucking poster, though. That's
I
so
miss
fucking
when
badass.
posters looked like that instead of just...
They're just heads.
And it's really Star Wars' fault for the just the heads thing. They kind of created that, but...
Yeah.
But Star Wars would create those and then have real posters.
Yeah.
Every other movie just creates those and no other posters now, and it makes me very sad. I get you need the one with all the heads because I'm sure all of the actors have it negotiated that they get to be in the poster.
Yeah.
But, like, make the
Don't
other
make that
posters.
Don't make that your main poster.
Ugh.
I do remember because I was when I was editing the trivia stuff like that, or not that trivia, the guess the actor. That Revenge of the Sith released on Father's Day, so they have a poster of Darth Vader saying, "Who's your daddy?"
Yeah.
One of the greatest posters of all time is too. Not for the right reasons, for all the bad reasons, but it's great. I love it.
But I want to see if I can find some of the other posters. I think Phantom Menace did their, like, all the faces poster probably the best. I think. Because you had Anakin kind of down in the bottom, just, like, walking. And then you had Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon back to back with their sabers out. Then Padme, sitting on the throne, and then Darth Maul in the background staring over all of them. I think that's probably the best.
I do remember when I was younger, I had the DVD version of it, and I remember staring at that DVD so much, of all of them, really. And it really interests me in, like, design. That's why whenever I'm on Twitter, I'll talk about how things look, like how, like, the posters look, and I'll complain about posters and, like, uniforms of sports teams and how overall and looks things are. So
Yeah. The original Return of the Jedi poster having a blue lightsaber is pretty funny since they changed it to green. I find that pretty funny.
yeah,
I'm looking at other posters. I like that one for Solo. Solo's spelled out in Arabic instead of
so Arabic
English.
can be read, apparently, right?
Yeah.
You
It's
should learn an Arabic.
just English but different
You should learn
symbols.
it.
But Solo in Arabic, and then it's just the Falcon and then Han and Chewie. I like that one. That's a good one. That Rogue One poster's pretty sick too. Just a Death Star that's just right there with all the characters down below it. But just the shadowy versions of them. Star Wars has had some cool posters. That's what I know.
Apparently, in earlier drafts of the script, Obi-Wan was the only Jedi to go to the Naboo meeting, and Qui-Gon wasn't introduced until they reached Coruscant.
Oh, that would have sucked.
You don't want more focus on Obi-Wan?
No. I want more Qui-Gon.
Reportedly, after a lightsaber scene, Ewan McGregor could be overheard muttering, "Do you want to be in Star Wars? Fuck yeah!"
Yeah. Who doesn't? Really? The opening crawl states that 2 Jedi Knights have been sent, but only Qui-Gon is a Jedi Knight. Obi-Wan's a Padawan. Technically, by that logic, neither of them are a Jedi Knight, because Qui-Gon's a Jedi Master, and Obi-Wan's a Padawan. There is a distinction there. Because remember, Anakin was the only knight to ever be put on the council and not be granted the rank of master. Qui-Gon's been on the council. He is a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
Ugh, goofy.
So two quick things about possible people who could have been in this movie. Michael Jackson campaigned to be Jar Jar Binks, famously known.
That's funny.
And then apparently Tupac Shakur reached out to George Lucas about playing Mace Windu.
That would have been kind of sick, not gonna lie.
I think he died before. Yeah, he died before any meeting could take place.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what? Yeah, why? Weird. Incorrectly regarded as goofs. Chancellor Captain Pananka says the name Bail Antilles of Alderaan as one of the candidates for Chancellor. And then in other movies, there's a Bail Organa of Alderaan. Like 15 years later. Senators can't serve for that long, so those would be different people. People can have the same name. Why did people think that was a goof? Very odd. I think Grayson froze again. Or he's holding incredibly still, which would also be impressive. But I don't know. I don't know, man. It's wild. Revealing. Oh, Grayson's finally back.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to bring up? There is one other goof that I want to bring up.
What's up?
So, we technically don't know too much about older Sith, like pre-Darth Bane and the Rule of Two. But Darth Bane and the Rule of Two, based off of old legend stuff and like stuff from video games and whatever, the Jedi thought the Sith were extinct because they thought they had killed them all with the help of Darth Bane, and then Darth Bane disappeared. They thought he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Yoda know about the Rule of Two? He's not old enough to know, but also the Jedi thought all Sith were dead. Nobody ever told them Bane started the Rule of Two and kept the Order alive. Yoda should have no goddamn idea about the Rule of Two.
Yoda is Sith? Question mark?
I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know how he knows.
He just built like that, bro.
Like, but that's my favorite thing when people talk about how mistakes Disney makes and disregarding. What about the time George Lucas just kind of forgot that Yoda shouldn't know anything? I don't know, man. Just hearing that, I was like, wait a minute. How the fuck does Yoda know that? He's not old enough. He wasn't there. They didn't know Darth Bane survived, let alone created the Rule of Two.
Well, do we know Yoda's birthday?
Well, we know he says in, not Revenge, Return of the Jedi that he's over 900. So he's not 1,000 years old yet at that point. And the Sith had been extinct for 1,000 years at the point of this movie. So he's like at least 100 years too young to have even been alive for Darth Bane.
Well, in Acolyte Season 2, they're going to retcon Yoda's birthday now.
They might, because they got to fix George Lucas's fuck up. But yeah, like, no, this is like the one character that we know how old they are, and he still fucked it up somehow. Nobody else ever has their age stated, but.
Well, Anakin has his age stated multiple times.
Well,
he's turned 25 in Revenge, and he's 19.
Does he say
Attack.
that? Where does it say in the movie that he turned 25? It doesn't. Sure the only time they bring up his age is in this movie, and everybody else is just kind of guesstimating later. That's the thing.
Well, I know for sure he's 19 in Attack.
Yeah, it's not really a guesstimate, but.
Yeah, whatever. I just know he dies when he's like 45, 46. Bro's looking at his phone.
Yeah, I keep getting texts. Blame Miller Football and some other people.
I blame all of them for everything in my life. Anyways, Phantom Menace, underrated compared to the rest of the Star Wars films, at least to me right now, because I haven't rewatched them in a few years. I think the last time I rewatched them was 2019. So, yeah, I think it's underrated. I think this is it's fun. I don't hate this movie. I thought I'm going back to it because I thought, like, for sure my opinion had changed back to, yes, the movie sucks, but I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad per se. I do still think it is definitely the weakest of the prequel movies. But
the prequel movies, absolutely.
That's just because I like the political intrigue bullshit. So I don't hate that Attack of the Clones is like entirely Senate meetings. I kind of love that.
Well, it's also a very big romance movie, which I do appreciate.
True. I also appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like I loved Attack of the Clones as a kid. I still love it now. And there is still nothing cooler than the goddamn arena battle. There will never be. And I love that. All the fucking Jedi just fucking, love it.
When Mustafar exists, I can't,
It's too orange.
It's too. But anyways, well, at least next week we can talk about Attack of the Clones. So you actually get to re-enjoy the rain.
Ooh, I love the rain.
The desert.
True. Go back to the desert.
And Natalie Portman randomly losing half her shirt.
Well, I mean, it was cut by a cat claw.
On one side, not the other. She should have like a back of it like flailing.
I don't know. Maybe she just tore it the rest of the way off, and they just didn't show that part.
Okay.
Because it was dangling weird.
Okay. If that's what you want to believe.
I mean, that makes more sense.
They would have showed that, wouldn't they?
Maybe not.
I don't know. Apparently, bras don't exist in Star Wars too. So.
True.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Attack of the Clones more in depth in next week's episode. Remember to subscribe, follow, do whatever else on these on whatever format you're on, and we'll see you guys next week when we talk about Attack of the Clones. Bye bye.